Welcome all to this session on Module 3 CS 305 on group communication. We will be discussing about the various aspects of group communication in distributed computing systems. What do you mean by a group? A group is a number of processes, number of related processes which cooperate to provide a common goal. They may be forming a group to provide an extendable, efficient, available and reliable service. And the communication among such processes in a group is called group communication. A group communication mainly is concerned with the delivery of message to a set of recipients, and hence it's a multi-party communication paradigm supporting that one-to-many communication, unlike our one-to-one communication. Here the message will be sent to a group and it will be delivered to all the members of the group. Here the sender need not be aware of the identities of these receivers. All he or she has to know is the group ID, and message will be sent to that group ID as the destination. Which all systems have become members of that group will be receiving that message. And it represents an abstraction over the multicast communication and can be implemented over an overlay networks. There are different areas of application for group communication. It can be for reliable dissemination of information to potentially a large number of clients, including in financial industry, where institutions require accurate and up-to-date access to a wide variety of information sources. Or it can be also support collaborative applications, for example, like multi-user games. And it can support a range of fault tolerance strategies, including there are scenarios in which replicated data are residing in multiple servers for easily availability of data. So in that case, if you have to update a piece of replicated data, you can make use of group communication instead of sending it individually to each of the sensors which is having that copy. And another one is it can support for system monitoring and management, including, for example, load balancing strategies. If you see it from a programming model, in a group communication, the central concept is that of group with associated group membership. So a group is having a membership where the processes may all join the group. It is dynamic. At any time, a process can join the group and it can leave the group. So we were discussing there are different types of communication methods: unicast, broadcast and multicast. So in a unicast way, it is point-to-point communication and multiple copies are sent. Okay, if you have to send to a receiver one copy, to receiver 2 another copy, like that we have to send. Whereas in broadcast, it is one-to-all communication. It's an abuse of your network bandwidth. And then for multicast communication, it is one to multiple again, but it is that multiple is for a particular group. As we have seen, in the programming model, the process is issuing one multicast operation to send a message to each of the group of processes instead of issuing the multiple send operations to each of the individual process separately. If you use a send primitive like a group dot send and the type of the message what you are passing, that send message, if it is destined to that group, that message will be sent to all the host which is part of that group. And broadcasting is allowing the transmission of the packet to a group of hosts in the network, and then that type of broadcasting is called multicasting. It's a transmission method in which the copies of a single packet that will be transmitted to a group of hosts in that group. a pictorial representation of multicast broadcasting. So here in this multicast way of communication, unlike the broadcasting, we can see that the message is getting passed only the systems beyond R2 and R3. It is not going to the systems which is connected to R4 because those systems are not part of the group. So that is the difference between broadcasting and multicasting. This is another one. We have a video server and it's having a destination ID 239.1.2.3, and this address is coming well under the domain address assigned for multicast addressing. So the destination is good, and when it is addressed to that particular group address, which all systems which are part of that will be receiving that message which is sent by this video server. So this video server can actually send or updates to a particular set of clients. When we see the programming model, again it's a single multicast operation. Instead of this multiple send operations to each of the individual members, which is of great convenience to the programmer because he can send the message to a group instead of sending this multiple send operations. And it is also efficient in its utilization of the bandwidth, and it also minimizes the total time taken to deliver the message to all the destinations as compared with transmitting it separately and serially. So you can see the advantages of multicasting over the normal separate send operations. There are different types of groups in terms of the type of entities which are members of that group. The entities can be processes which are collectively working towards a common goal, or they can be even objects interacting and coordinating among themselves to provide a particular service. So depending on that, it can be a process group or an object group. Then we have open and closed group. The closed group is said to be closed if only members of the group may multicast to it. Not an outsider can send a message to this group, to this closed group, even if they know the group ID. That's why it's called a closed group. So this find advantages when a group of cooperating servers and they are sending messages to other set of servers towards a common goal, and they don't want these messages to go outside, or they don't want to receive the messages from outside, then they can go for a closed group. And there is just the opposite. You have the open group. And open groups are useful when an outsider can send a message or like a notification or some delivering some events to a group of interested processes which are members of the group. So that is an open group. It will be more clear by these diagrams. In the closed group, the interaction of an outsider towards the group is not permissible. Whereas in an open group, an outsider can send a message to the group which will be sent to all the members of that group. Another way of seeing a group is overlapping and non-overlapping. So in the overlapping groups, the entities may be members of multiple groups. There is an option for a particular entity to be a part of or to be a member of multiple groups. That's why the name overlapping groups. And non-overlapping means the maximum number of groups to which a particular entity can be a member of is 1. And for a group communication, it can be either a synchronous or asynchronous way of communication. So there are different ways of taking like membership to a particular group. It's very much dynamic. You can join a group at any time. You can leave the group at any time. It's very dynamic. So there is a group membership management which will take care of all these things, group membership related things, and it provides four main tasks. The first one is it will provide an interface for these group membership changes, like to add group, leave group, like that. It will be providing us with an interface for these membership dynamic changes. And it will also give you the failure detection. That means it will use some failure detector to reach the decision about a group's membership. If it is not, if it is suspected to have failed or it has become unreachable due to network issues, it will be excluded. That particular process or object will be excluded from the membership of that group. So this group membership management will be tracking that failures of its member nodes. The third task is it will notify the members of this group membership changes whenever a particular new entity has joined or someone has left due to its own willingness or due to some network issues. All these updates will be given to the other members of the group. The last task is performing group address expansion. So when a process is multicasting a message, it is the group membership management supplies the group identifier rather than a list of processes in the group. So it is the group membership management that will be expanding this group ID into the list of individual process addresses. In the middle, you can see the group. Currently, there are different entities, and since an outsider is sending some message to the group through this group sent, we can understand that it is an open group. And then you have the group membership management, which will take care of all the interfaces for a particular entity to be a part of it, or someone has to leave the group. Everything will be managed by this group membership management through different interfaces like leave, join, etc. And then it also performs the group address expansion, because when an outsider is sending a message, the destination will be the group address that will be expanded to this individual addresses, and that message will be delivered to individual members.